A war is on the horizon. A big one. Bigger than all we've seen before. One, you say? There will be two. My plan to shape the perfect society is already in motion. Is that so? Then why is it taking place across the ocean? It'll serve as a catalyst for growth. Many will need their aid, thus enriching them. I see. Then it would be best if the second one achieved an even higher scale, correct? Naturally. I'm not sure how we could intervene in doing so, however. That is my only fear. The creator's form shifted into that of a crow, landing with its talons on the master's shoulder. Lucky you, I might just know how. Let us pick an unborn and tinker with its DNA, assembling the perfect leader, a dictator, as they call it. The master tilted his head to the small figure on his shoulder, his eyelids barely open. Continue. A ruthless one that would strive not only for global control, but also for eliminating all who look different from him and his people. That is sure to amp things up, don't you think? That is a brilliant idea. I like the sound of it. He remained almost frozen in thought, staring blankly into the stars ahead. The creator awaited a response that would never come, thus prompting him to continue. That's great to hear. Was there anything else? No. I'm thinking of how pleasant it will be to watch it unfold. I figured. Then let us get to work. And while we're at it, we should also keep an eye on the upcoming conflict. Yes, I will savor every moment. Unknown, New York, 1:43 a.m. It is an insidious night, a looming threat on the horizon. A bald man is slowly walking on the sidewalk. Not only does he look exhausted, as evident by his sluggish movement, but also in great pain, low moans coming out of his mouth. His body holds nothing more than a pair of shorts and basic shoes. There's something wrong with his skin, however, grey patches plaguing areas of his torso like a disease, which also appear to be cracked and spreading. As he walks, small pebbles start shedding off of his skin in sad patches, falling into the ground, making a constant clattering noise that accompanies his footsteps. Very soon it'll take over his body. The head is already within reach. A bystander comes into view on the other side of the road, his attention immediately gripped by the unsettling man. He calls out to him, both voice and body trembling. Hey, mister! Need some help over there? Such an innocent soul. Does he not know the world he lives in? His words fall on deaf ears as the man keeps walking. Not knowing what to think of the situation, he decides to keep on trying. There's usually more than meets the eye, yet in this case, it's something he should not wish to know. Hey, I'm gonna call an ambulance, okay? He shouted, cupping both sides of his mouth. These words in particular put a stop to the man's march, eyes locking with his, a piercing gaze from across the street, a neutral expression on his face. Despite feeling unsettled, he didn't have it in him to leave the scene, deeming this man to be in dire need of help. He didn't look away as well, both gazes fixated on each other. He hoped for someone else, a car, anything at all to come into view. That way he wasn't truly alone in the face of whatever was taking place. But nobody did. The last thing he heard was heavy pounds against the road. It all happened way too fast. His eyes couldn't even hope to see it coming. The bystander's head exploded in a shower of blood, flashy bits and brain matter flying backwards, spraying across the wall of a building. The body then fell over, no head to be seen anymore, his neck akin to a tree stump. The bald man remained stuck in place, his blood-soaked fist still reaching forward over the body. It was only a few seconds after where he finally lowered it, returning to a normal stance. Not a thought, not even as much as a twitch could be noted. He simply returned to his original side of the road, resuming his march as if nothing happened. Something was forming on his back, stone stretching out into wings. He appears to be murmuring something to himself repeatedly, half of his mouth quivering as the stone takes over, struggling to move. I must do it. I must do it. I must bring her back. I must do as he says. I must. The angel drifts off into the distance, its destination unknown, even to itself. St. Mark's Evangelical Lutheran Church, 1:39 a.m. Isaac, wake up. A familiar voice awakes Isaac from his deep slumber, his eyes slowly springing open, his head tilting sideways. It's Toby, crouching beside him at the pew, tapping him on the shoulder repeatedly. His guard is up, although not as much as last time. Trust isn't something built overnight. He's not sure how long he's been out for. What day even is it? Jesus, what happened to you? Toby asks as his eyes scan his body from top to bottom. Isaac gets up from the bench as Toby backs away, granting him space, their eyes finally meeting properly. Sorry to wake you up. Seems someone gave you a rough time, just like I predicted. The thing is that I have something to tell you. I believe it's in your best interest. You know the Eclipse Security Corporation, right? Isaac nods. Of course, everyone does. They, in fact, do the things you know them for. Physical surveillance, risk assessment, taking care of criminal hosts, all while having a quite strange and suspicious relationship with the Anarchy Angels. But it's not just them, funnily enough. You see, my father and I found evidence of several other interesting people being helped by them in a variety of ways, whether by providing them with security or attempting to cover up their records. He walked back and forth with his hands on his hips as he explained. There's a lot Isaac wished to say on the matter, but all he can do is stare awkwardly at Toby. And you want to know the strangest part? This wasn't even all that hard to find, despite my father being a senior pilot, so he's got some contacts, as you'd expect. He stopped to glance at him again, his features tense all of a sudden. I can't help but wonder if the government itself is actively batting an eye to this. Despite knowing he can't talk, Toby can't help but feel unsettled in his presence, as well as wonder if he's even listening at all. Those white eyes of his, what do they hide behind them? What sort of nightmare fuel did he hear coming from his mind in their previous encounter? The way he just stands there, almost motionless. It's like being face to face with a being beyond comprehension, when it's just a man. Could he just be overthinking it, though? Isaac rubbed his concealed chin. He might not be able to ask any questions, but he can think about the matter. Before the silence could turn things awkward, Toby chose to bring something else up. You want to see something very fucking weird? He asked as he got closer, pulling his phone out. Look at this, wait, he said, now standing beside Isaac as he browsed through a tower of images on his phone. So, this is Adam, who you obviously know. But I wanted to ask, have you seen this face somewhere else before? Toby shows him a picture of the man in question, who is in his early 20s. He's wearing a business suit, has short dark hair and sharp eyes. There's a somewhat creepy smile on his face, one insidious enough that only a picture could have captured. Naturally, Isaac knows who he is, but he can't help but feel that he's, in fact, seen him somewhere else before. This face feels both familiar and unknown at the same time. With no way of sharing his thoughts, as well as not being sure, he shakes his head. Toby began searching for another picture. Okay, so what if I showed you this? This is the actual weird part, I'm sorry for misleading you earlier. You know him? It's yet another man, but this time, Isaac recognizes him very well. It's the picture he saw in that journal about a week ago when he was in Alaska. A single frame caught by a security camera. The necromancer. It's heavily zoomed on him here, however. The more Isaac looks at it, the more it starts to look like Adam himself. The only features that say otherwise being primarily the darkened veins around the eyes, as well as the pale skin and odd clothing. He could feel shivers down his spine. There's just something about him that's so unnerving, yet he can't explain why. One could argue that's the veins around the skin, but it's something else too. Something hidden under the surface. Something that only a sixth sense could dig up. Toby noticed his prolonged stare at the picture. You saw that article too, didn't you? Isaac slowly turned to him and nodded, followed by Toby tucking his phone away. They're quite similar, don't you think? And also, remember what it said in that article? That he went there to, quote, steal info on specific criminals? Like, who would even write something like that? I think that's bullshit. Because if he wanted to know something like that, he'd just... You know, he's the fucking CEO of a security company. Need I say more? He shrugged, raising both arms sideways. I'm pretty sure he needed to get rid of something. Possibly evidence. Evidence I believe to have been hidden from the higher-ups of whoever gathered it. Because we all know how the government treats this company. He sighed it. There's still a lot of stuff that just doesn't make any sense. Like, how did he even know about it in the first place? He decides to take a load off on the pew, crossing his legs. I have a request for you now. It's actually the main reason why I came here to begin with. You see, he's doing yet another raid as we speak. Isaac's eyes widen, the possibility of learning about Adam both thrilling and terrifying him beyond belief. The Atlantic Heights precinct, just a few blocks from here. It's quite the opportunity to see what he's up to. Possibly stop him, I don't know. The thing is that I'm not sure I can do it by myself. Mind tagging along? He asked with finger guns pointing up at Isaac. Quite an interesting proposition. Although he didn't hesitate to nod in agreement this time, he'll still be careful around Toby. It'll be nice to have some company for a change, as well as getting to see what he's capable of, as well as Adam. That's great to hear. Small problem though, you're not exactly in good shape, are you? Isaac looks down at his clothes, the blood on them long dry, the wounds in their holes still visible. Well, lucky for you, I can help with that, he said as he got closer, now standing inches away. Stand still, please. Toby placed one hand on Isaac's shoulder, his other hand pressing against his chest, palm open. He closed his eyes for a brief moment, followed by applying a sudden force onto his chest, then letting go. Isaac could feel a radiant energy slowly pulsating throughout his body. It was warm and soothing, like gentle ocean waves originating from his chest, making their way across his skin in bursts, each one going farther than the last. With each wound they covered, he felt the skin slowly close up, healing rapidly. He glanced down as it happened, eyes closed, totally lost in the moment while Toby patiently waited. It really was one of the best feelings he's ever experienced. He's as good as new, all the pain vacuumed out of him, as if it was an illusion all along. His clothes, on the other hand, remained the same, and they're only gonna get worse. That I can't fix. You're gonna have to see a tailor. Somehow. Turning his back, Toby began making his way to the doorway he came from, stretching lazily. Come on, let's go. Snapping out of the pleasure trance, Isaac quickly catches up with him. He's curious to see how he gets in. It's been a mystery up until now. They enter one of the back rooms of the church, where a hole big enough to fit through stands in the wall, leading outside. He stops in his tracks as Toby passes through, staring at it in utter confusion. He doesn't remember it being here, for he searched the place thoroughly when he first arrived. The only possible entryway was through fractures in the walls, one only accessible to him. The only possible explanation is that Toby was responsible for it, but it's not like he can ask him about it. They make their way to the outside onto the backyard of the church. It's a couple of blocks away, as I said. We can take a shortcut if we go on top of those buildings. He points to the rooftop of a series of buildings to the right of the church. Now standing before the wall, Toby crouches for a few seconds, his legs acting almost like a coil, followed by shooting himself upwards onto the 3-story building. Witnessing the whole procedure, Isaac noticed his legs gaining mass, as if there was increased blood circulation onto those areas. It still didn't explain how it allowed him to jump so high, or maybe he's just not knowledgeable enough in that field to figure it out. Nonetheless, that was weird. Toby, now on top of the building, leans over to look down at him. "Can you get up here?" he shouts. Isaac focuses for a moment, his body morphing into the usual void-like smoke as he quickly flies up to the rooftop, landing beside him. Toby's eyebrows rose in astonishment as he saw him flying, slightly backing up from his landing zone. "That's pretty sick, not gonna lie." He rolled his shoulders back in his slow shrug as he straightened, holding up a devil's horns gesture with his hand at him for a second. Even in times like this, it's healthy to try and have a few light-hearted moments. No matter the physical and psychological torment he's been enduring, if he does his best to suppress all of those feelings, somewhere amidst all the darkness, these powers are indeed pretty cool. He really shouldn't, but it's nice to see them that way from time to time. His psyche appreciates it. Toby lets out a chuckle before they continue onwards through the rooftops, traversing them surprisingly easily. 5 minutes of running, jumping and flying later, they come into view of the police station. Isaac crouches at the edge, whereas Toby stands beside him, their eyes fixated on the structure. The wind howled silently as they tried to make sense of the entrance's state. Something was clearly off. The doors were burst open with so much force they were ripped from their hinges, thus falling forward onto the ground. Wow, he really went in guns blazing like that? Talk about keeping a low profile, Toby says. It's not exactly something impressive or unusual, considering your average host powers. It isn't the fact that Adam kicked down a set of doors they should be afraid of. That shouldn't even factor into what he's capable of. He should still be inside. Let's head down, Toby said, a breath hitching in his throat, his nerves spiking, as much as he wasn't keen on showing it. He steps onwards, letting himself fall onto the ground below like it's nothing, followed by Isaac's gas body hovering down beside him, morphing back to normal for a smooth land. Thankfully, there's no one to be seen on these quiet streets, aside from the two wicked figures. They hastily make their way across the road, arriving at the wrecked entrance. Just before stepping inside, however, Isaac catches something in the corner of his eye, prompting him to grab Toby's arm as he glances cautiously to his right. "Hmm?" he asks, perplexed, right before taking in what Isaac was seeing, his eyebrows furrowing. A trail of footsteps carved into the concrete, coming from down the street, leading into the alley next to the station. It was like someone wearing steel boots had violently crushed their way here, each step a massive effort, grains from the sidewalk and dust covering the surroundings of each tiny crater. "What the hell is that?" Toby whispered, the hair in the back of his neck rising. There really was nothing both of them could come up with to explain this, but it clearly wasn't the work of an average person. Letting go of him, Isaac made his way closer to the trail, kneeling beside it just as the footsteps turned the corner into the alley, while Toby quietly stayed behind, not daring to even look inside the station by himself. He brushed his fingers against some of the grains, gently rubbing them together as he examined it closer, before quickly falling back down. This doesn't have anything to do with him now, does it? Isaac thought to himself. It's clear Adam barged right through the main entrance. So who's this? His head then slowly turned left to look down the alley, noticing that the trail ended abruptly just before the wall. It's clear what happened, however, as proven by the rough marks and scratches on it. Isaac slowly stood up as he took in the side of the wall, gradually glancing up. They appeared to be covering the wall all the way to an open window above. "Everything okay?" Toby asked, his tone shaky. Isaac looked at him before making his way back. He gestured for him to be quiet, holding up a finger on his own mouth, then tilting his head towards the entrance. Something is very, very wrong. Yet this is about as much as he can convey to Toby. "What did you see, though?" "All right, no tongue," he says before looking inside the building, letting out a nervous sigh. "Let's just go in then." They march forward. It's almost like entering a portal to a different world. Standing alongside each other at the doorway in the reception area, they witness the nightmarish scene around them. Several police officers, scattered about on the ground, their skin pale, their faces stamped with horrified expressions, their pupils retracted upward, as if they were scared to death. Signs of resistance were plenty, yet there was no blood or gore present. The room is clean, even if slightly ravaged. They both stared around in horror. Toby's body trembled slightly at this sight, his brain trying to explain to itself how such a thing took place, and why. He also felt terribly sorry for the officers. Isaac, on the other hand, was trying to decipher Adam's abilities, his analytical mind too busy to be scared. "I was right to be hesitant about coming here by myself, thanks." Isaac finds it strange how Toby had the courage to face him back at the church, yet feels scared in this ambience. He doesn't think he's weak or incapable, but possibly lacks confidence in himself. Nonetheless, he nods at him. "Let's not waste any more time, then." They both step into the police station at the same time, their goal regarding Adam still undecided, if this mysterious figure truly is Adam to begin with. But of course they're unsure. Frankly, they aren't heroes. Those don't exist.